Hey, hey, hey. Hello, everyone. Welcome to week number 1 of Introduction to Information Security. Looks like we got two people hanging out with us, two students, Dustin and Mariah. I think I'm spelling that right or pronouncing that right. If I am butchering your name, please call me out because I hate it when people butcher my name. Speaking of names, so my name is Felicia. You can call me Felicia or Fia or Miss O'Loughlin, whatever you prefer. But yeah, I'm super flexible. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to know you and tell you a little bit about myself. Um, and then yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So, week 1 agenda. We're going to get right into some announcements. I like to start out each lecture with announcements in case there's anything important, and then I'll get into just a quick introduction about me, talk about a little bit about you, a quick poll to find out who we have in the class right now. Those of you who are watching after the fact, I would love to hear from you as well. um, so my vision, oh, me Ray, me Ray, Mireya, is that am I doing it right? I see you typed in the chat. Okay, awesome. Mireya, that's pretty. Mireya. Oh, that's unique too. Mireya. Okay, all right. Yeah, she says thank you, mom and dad. Yes, yes. Awesomeness. Okay, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. All right, so yeah, I'll get into my vision for IIS. And IIS is just another name for Introduction to Information Security. The real course name or number is CTI 2318. So you are in the right place at the right time if you signed up for Introduction to Information Security. So thank you for coming today. Thank you for watching the video after the fact. And feel free to let me know if you have any questions along the way. All right, so for announcements, I always like to encourage students to check out one.fullsail.edu. Why? Because it's full of online events, virtual events. It's a great way to stay in contact with other students, um, students from other degrees, and then just it's a way of staying in contact with your fellow class um, that might be graduating with you, right? It's a good way to find out about new things too at Full Sail. All right, so I have some notes over to the right hand side which says weekend notes. Start looking at the homework now. So I like to always encourage students to look ahead, work ahead, think ahead. Why? Because as a professional, especially in the information security industry, information technology industry, you will be required to think ahead, work ahead. And for all of you early bird achievers, you can even go into week 2 and 3 if you want. All right. Okay, so teamwork makes the dream work. What do I mean by that? Well, you can contact me, but just know that most of my office hours are during Monday through Friday. I do answer questions on the weekends. However, most of the times I am not available on the weekend. Unless I just happen to check my messages and then I see something come through. But we do have some lab instructors who are waiting and willing to help you on the weekends when I'm away. So Kyle, Lewis, and Christian, 3 lab instructors are available if you have questions about anything. Of course, I am the one that will decide what your grades are. I'm the one that will be giving you feedback on your individual assignments. I'm the one that will be giving out course director awards based on your performance. So, yeah, but always feel free to reach out to all of us if you need to. All right, so a little bit about me. I am originally from Indianapolis, Indiana, the Hoosier State. I grew up with 14 brothers and sisters. Yes, and you can imagine how full my house was back in the day. I am the 4th oldest, so I had 10 below me, which means I had a lot of responsibility, and that's why I only have 2. That's why I only have 2 kids. But yeah, my education experience ranges over the last 15, 20 years-ish. You can find out whatever you'd like about my professional career on LinkedIn. It's a great professional networking site that will, help your career as far as networking with other professionals, teachers, students, corporations, all that good stuff. I started out after Purdue University, graduating. Lockheed Martin moved me and my family here to Florida, and that's how I ended up at Lockheed. Um, they hired me into a leadership development program, and that was like the best thing I could have done coming right out of college. So if you can find a leadership development program at a company, definitely go for that because they gave me so much free training over and above what my job responsibilities were that I think it really made me into the person I am today. So Walt Disney World, I've worked for them as well, had a wonderful experience, and I've also taught for a variety of schools. I've been with Full Sail for the last 8 years. Love it here, and I'm glad you're here. So, what else? So my background is mostly information technology and software development. I run me and my husband run a information technology consulting business. I've been a programmer ooh, since COBOL, if you can remember COBOL from back in the day. Yeah, so I have evolved into languages like Node.js and PHP is old at this point, but um, Python, all that good stuff. Those are tools that I've used to handle client work and also corporate America projects. So yeah, as a on a personal side, I love riding motorcycles. It's a big stress reliever for me. I love singing. I love acting. I love camping on the beach. Whenever I can, I like to grab a tent and just pop it up on and stay there all day. But yeah, that's me. Forgot. Yeah, my motorcycle. So this is my latest hobby. I've been riding for about 5 years. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. But it is still, I still consider myself a newbie because I don't ride it every day. I did ride it today uh, because there's a storm or tornado coming, and I needed to put it away. But yeah, I love riding. You can see the color change because I learned that you have to be visible on the street to stay safe. But yeah, um, good things, good things. So let's learn a little bit about you. Where are you from? Which degree are you going for? Information technology, cloud, cyber. Any real world experience that you have and you want to share with us today, feel free to share that as well. What's your dream job? I would love to know that. And then also, just off the top of your head, what does the word hacker mean to you? Do you know anyone whose information security has been hacked? And I don't mean actually give me their name, right? Just yes or no, general conversation. I've been hacked. Most people have been hacked at least once. So we'll talk about that more during the lecture. But yeah, just a general conversation. So who wants to go first? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Who wants to go first? Hmm. Dustin or Mireya?
Since you said it right.
Yay!
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. You tried and you did it.
Awesome.
So I'm going for cybersecurity.
Beautiful.
And where am I from? Puerto Rico.
Okay. Nice.
Um,
Are you still in Puerto Rico? Or are you?
No, I'm in Orlando.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm very local. I don't have any work experience with anything to do, which is funny because I was never interested in any of the stuff that I'm studying now, and now I'm like so fascinated with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, why did I not get into this before? So
yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, so a dream job, I don't know, but hopefully something to do with what I'm studying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
okay. So if you could pick a place to work, is there a particular place you'd like to work? Like, I don't know, Google, Microsoft.
Actually, I was thinking more on the Lockheed Martin area.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't know. Wherever it takes me.
Right. Yep, I hear you.
And a hacker to me just means a very fancy thief with very good skills.
I like that. Very fancy thief with fancy. Yeah, yeah. Good explanation. I like that. And of course, I'm assuming you know at least one person.
If I know
One
anyone's
person
information,
that's just from your life experience that's been hacked.
myself
Oh
twice.
yeah, and it doesn't
Yes.
feel good. I don't. Yeah. Same here. It's
Well,
a
once was from a gas station. I had no idea how they did it. Just paying the gas at the pump,
yeah.
and the information out of there. So very frustrating.
Same
And
here.
yeah,
Because you're
but
trying to
it's
figure
over.
out how that happened. When you have your physical card, how is somebody else in another state using it
Right,
at another gas station? So that's what
correct.
happened to me. But
Very annoying.
uh-huh. So you recovered, hopefully.
Yes, I'm good now, and I recovered everything. So
Awesome.
thank you for USA.
Yes. Yep. Thank goodness for insurance with the banks. That helps. All right. Well, good job to you. I'm clapping for you for going first. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're
Um,
welcome.
let's see. We got Dustin. You're on the Prize is Right. You got the mic.
All right. Um, Dustin Brown. I am from a town right outside of Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
Um, my degree I'm going for is also cybersecurity.
Uh huh.
Um,
Nice.
I do not have any work experience
Mm-hmm.
in cybersecurity field. Um, I do have some IT and game design, just a little bit.
Okay. Nice.
I, my dream job though is to work. Um, my first option would be DARPA. I
DARPA. Yeah.
I have some military family. I come from a line of military family. Um, so that would be something I would look forward to. But my second one, and probably more fun job I would have, would be through the Oculus system or the Oculus company.
Mm-hmm.
Virtual
Okay.
reality. I
Okay.
mean,
Because
more
I was going to ask you, would you use any of your gaming experience?
right, right. And virtual reality is just becoming the more norm day. As we keep
Mm-hmm.
here, eventually I feel that half our world will be virtual
Yep.
reality
Yep.
or augmented reality. So the cybersecurity measures are going to need to be there because people are going to be able to go pay for stuff in virtual reality worlds and augmented worlds. So I think the need for the security aspect on that would be high.
Oh, yeah.
So, but the word hacker to me is different, I think, than most people. When I think of hacker, I think of an intelligent individual that can breach, doesn't necessarily breach, and not always a bad guy. Hacker gets a very bad name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas things have a military family and DARPA and everything, hackers can be used for good.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I think when it happens to you personally, obviously it feels bad, right? Um, but then later this semester, we'll actually talk about why are hackers needed, right? Because in order for these institutions to stay safe, somebody's got to test the system and make sure it can't be hacked. So
Correct.
hackers have a job too. Good
Yeah.
point. Yep.
I agree with that too, Dustin. I agree that they could be used for good if they wanted to go that route. But just like this, but yeah, like Fia said, when it happens to you, it was a thief that stole from you. And he wasn't doing it for the benefit of the company. He was doing it for his own benefit, being selfish. Therefore, that's where I'm. But yes, they can be good for. I mean, they hire hackers and they get paid very good money. But even United States suffers because of hackers, like the petroleum and whatever else happens that we. So yes, I am with you, but I still call them fancy thieves on the other side.
Right. Yeah, there's always a black and a white to every profession. I mean, chemists that create medicines are also some of these chemists that have put out drugs to the streets that have caused harm to our youth and stuff like that as well. So,
right.
so that's when I think a hacker. I just think of an individual. That is very intelligent in breaching and doing what needs to be done. Now, what they do with the information is up to them.
Right. Are they using their special powers for good or evil? And that is,
Correct.
yeah. Yep. Good collaboration. I love it. So good job to you, Dustin. You made a really good point. I think it's awesome that you're looking to pull in your gaming background with cyber. So that's going to be um, super interesting if you pursue that, I'm sure. All right. So good job to both of you. Thank you for sharing. Let's go ahead and get started with the rest of what we have for today. So, prepping for real world collaboration. I love the fact that there's only two people here, but you guys have already started to really get into your individual opinions as well as, based on your experiences, share. And that's what this class is all about. You'll get a lot of discussions on FSO where we're looking for you to, really state your point of view. And I love it when students do that. The good thing about having such a vast, and I have two different sections this month, so there's a combination of, I don't know, 30 something students who are going to be in individual sections sharing. But it's a great way for you to network, stay in touch with your classmates, and you never know, who's going to be that person that ends up helping you get that $80,000 job, right? So the other thing I want to say is everyone, we're going to start at the very beginning. This is a class that is based on the introduction of information security. So it's a very beginner level course. There's a lot of research, a lot of reading, a lot of write-ups. So that we want to make sure you understand the concepts. Some hands-on as well, but it's very beginner level. And so your pace may vary. Some students who are watching this video after the fact might have way more experience than Dustin and Mireya. So if you don't, that's fine too. But the point is, stay in contact with each other, but take responsibility, obviously, for your own work, your own discipline, your own study time, and how fast you move through the course, because you can work ahead. And I'm always in appreciation for that. So my vision for the course is to help you be successful, obviously, right? I want to facilitate your learning experience in a way that helps you pass this class with flying colors. I want you to leave with a solid understanding of the concepts, the security concepts and frameworks that we're going to share, as well as I am also looking for Course Director Award candidates. So have either of you ever heard of a CDA award or Course Director Award? Just let me know in the chat or however you like. Just curious. I'm always wondering.
Not me.
Okay. All right. So a Course Director Award is one of those things that you get on graduation day. But actually you get them, let me rephrase that. You get them before graduation. But you don't actually get recognized for it until graduation. So imagine, for example, you did wonderfully well in this class, and I put you on my list, and I submit to Full Sail, hey, Dustin and Mireya, they both deserve a CDA award. So on graduation day, when you're walking across the stage and they call your name, they're also going to say, by the way, Dustin and Mireya, they both received a Course Director Award for CTI-2318 or Information Security, Introduction Information Security. So that's pretty much what it is. It's our way as course directors are allowed to give out, awards to reward your hard work. We want to tell you, hey, keep going, stay encouraged, right? So you'll find out from me if you got one. And the way that you get one from me is by going above and beyond with how you present your work. Are you using good time management? Are you turning your assignments in on time? Are you doing more than what's expected? Meaning, don't just turn in, for example, a paper and not give me any sources, right? If you give me sources and you got good spelling and grammar and you're submitting your work with excellence is what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for the average. are looking for someone who goes above and beyond. So I don't see any reason why either of you can't meet that standard. And I look forward to adding you to my list. All right. Um, so let's see. Course overview. Quickly. Let's talk about what this course is going to provide. You probably already read through some of the course information online. But basically, we're going to cover encryption standards, network security concepts, operating systems, and how to harden those and make them more secure. Risk management strategies, all kinds of good stuff. These are big words, but simple stuff is the simplicity of it is that you're going to learn how to protect data in multiple ways. So for the book, the textbook that we're using is the CompTIA Security Plus. Now, the SYO 501 is probably still being used widespread for this industry, but the newest one is 601. So when you read, for example, that there is a quiz on chapter XYZ, we are referring to SYO 501, that version, the former version. But that does not mean that you cannot go and find the same information in 601. It will be easier for you to find it in 501 because we've kind of pulled from each chapter specifically. But 601 is also helpful, so you can refer to both. Just want to make sure that's out there before you get started with the assignments. You should be able to get this on O'Reilly, right? So ebooks.fullsail.edu. Just log in with your regular, Full Sail credentials, and you should be good to go. So for those of you who haven't gotten to this part yet, this is on FSO. This is a 2-strike course, and what that means is you get 2 chances to fail this course before you'll be removed from your degree. So we don't want that to happen. We're not trying to manifest that, right? So just be aware that if you come into contact with some hard times, just be aware of your options in terms of you don't want to use up one of your strikes. So communicate as much as possible. That's going to be helpful. I don't need to read through all of this. This is in the course syllabus, all of this wonderful information about what each week is going to talk about. But download the course syllabus when you get a chance. Just have it on your hard drive. You never know when your internet's going to go down or when FSO is not going to be available. And if you want to know what's coming for the following week, it's helpful to know what concepts you can research, even if you're limited in resources as far as wireless. So I guess technically you could go to the Starbucks and use their wireless if yours went down. But it's nice to have a digital copy on your hard drive just in case. All right, so deliverables for this term. Obviously, everybody knows about 10% for your GPS, professionalism. The labs are about 35%, homework 40%, big chunk. And then your presentation is a 10-minute video recording that you'll make during week 4, which I love listening to. I love listening to each student kind of pick a topic that they're passionate about and then, putting together a keynote and sharing what they learned about that topic. So I look forward to that. Keep in mind, don't wait till the last minute on that. So start thinking about what you want your research presentation to be about now. Like, we're going to cover some topics in week 1, week 2, but generally, kind of what you're interested in already. Like, both of you have already kind of mentioned things that you might be interested in. All right, so things that you've experienced, and maybe from your experience, you can pick your topic, right? So just check out the list that's under week 4. There's a list of topics there that you can choose from, but you'll be answering some questions. Why is your topic important to information security? Give us an overview. What are the risks involved? and then what are some of the ways that we can control and contain the risk. Late policy. So every course has a late policies. Ours is no different. Basically, you get, let's see, you get until 3 days after the due date to turn it in, but you will lose 10% if you're late. So it's a one-time 10% late penalty, but you have a limited time to go ahead and turn that in after the due date. All right. If you want that to be waived, make sure you contact me at least 24 hours before the assignment is due. Okay. If you want to avoid that penalty. And then the course calendar that you'll see on FSO is a great way to kind of see what the late policy looks like. The grayed out part is how many days you have left before you can turn it back in, but you'll still lose the 10%. All right, so course tips for success. I love to give out tips because you just never know, where students are coming from and what their experiences are. So one of the things that you'll be required to do in the real world, and I'm speaking from experience, you will be required to plan ahead. You will be required to use time management and really measure out, okay, how much time is it going to take me to do this project? Do I need to tell my boss that I need a little bit more time on this? You're going to have to do some critical thinking in that area. Okay, so you're going to have to do the same thing for this class. You might as well start practicing now, right? You got a few more classes to go before you graduate, depending on what you're going for, certificate, associates, whatever, right? But you might as well go ahead and practice that now. Communication is key. I'm usually flexible. I am not, a stickler for, everything that's written on FSO. If you work with me, I work with you, and we're all happy. I like that policy better. All right, so DUE versus DUE versus DO. All right, that basically means don't wait till the DUE due date to start thinking about the homework. Don't wait till the DUE due date to start asking questions about the homework, right? Because your brain needs time to process the information, number one. Number two, I need time to respond to your question. So between you needing to understand the material and me needing to have time to respond to you, the chances of you getting the help that you need on the due date is very, very slim. And that's why we ask that you think about the due date versus when you actually physically start to do the work. All right. Be resourceful. Again, that's another real world skill. When you have a boss that has hired you for that first $85,000 job, and they're expecting you to know how to research, they're expecting you to know how to be resourceful and find the answers. What is our information security policy, and are we following it? Right? You need to be resourceful enough to make that happen. Instead of just waiting for your boss to give you the answer, right? All right, so professionalism. You've probably seen this chart, I don't know how many times, but I'm going to show it to you again anyway. The biggest thing I want to focus on is avoiding plagiarism. It's not worth it. Be original with your discussion responses, and then when you're doing or submitting private write-ups to me, please use or cite your references. It's the professional thing to do. All right, and so I won't emphasize that too much more other than it speaks for itself. All right, so I'm just going to do a quick sound check, make sure everybody can still hear me. Just let me know in the chat that we're good to go, and I'll keep it moving. Are we good, Dustin? Are we good, Mireya? Can you still hear me? Yes? No? Maybe? No? Do you require APA on sources? No. Okay, awesome, Dustin. Thank you for letting me know you can still hear me. But no, APA is not required. But if you are used to using APA, definitely when you cite your sources, yeah, it's better to stay in the practice of doing it if you've already been doing it. But as long as you give me a link to the site that you used, or the book that you used online or something like that, I'm good. We're not gonna take off points if you didn't use APA. But again, it's very professional if you do. That would be considered going above and beyond. So that's a great example of how I'm looking for, oh wow, look at this. They actually went through the trouble of using APA format for citing their sources. So that's one of those things I might look at and say, hey, yeah, I like that. Um, Good question. Thank you, Mireya, for letting me know that you can hear me. Okay, we're ready to go. So, overview of topics. We got a lot to cover, so I'm gonna talk really, really fast. You're gonna see a lot of this on, yeah. Thanks a lot, Dustin. Well, you don't have to. You don't have to use APA.
He's just raising the bar a little higher for the rest of us.
I know. Striving for that award. Yes, that's the way to do it, Dustin. That's funny. All right, so let's talk about data user and application security. So this is a biggie. Online safety and phishing awareness. You're going to get to practice this a little bit this week if you haven't already started the labs. So I'll get into that a little bit later. But let's talk about online safety awareness. Why is it so important? Why do we care so much? Well, you're studying cybersecurity, right? Information security. You need to study it, but really, why is it so important? It's super important because the number one risk for security is user behavior. It all starts with us, like humans, our behavior, our clicks, our curiosity. We just can't not click, right? We just, yeah. So I've trained myself out of that because I don't want to lose any more computers. I don't want to lose any more data, right? So I'm done with that. So additional risk include not just human behavior, but as a result of not having online safety awareness, you end up with less privacy. You end up being taken advantage of by more phishing scams, more malware. Your passwords are compromised, which means your data is compromised. Data leakages are happening all over the place. Your data is being sold anyway. So it's just like, yeah. So that's why online safety awareness is so important. Even if you weren't studying this for a degree, right? This class should probably be required for every student, just because it's such an important topic. Online safety awareness, just by itself. All right. So it's not anymore. It's not just about whether you stop before you download or you stop before you click. You have to keep a certain mindset as you are going about your day, checking your email, checking your text messages. You can get scammed through text messages. You can get scammed through email, right? You can get scammed through WhatsApp or whatever, right? It doesn't matter these days. It's just like anybody that you respond to can be trying to scam you. All right. Phishing awareness. So what is phishing? I'm assuming that both of you have heard of it. If you haven't, let me know in the chat. If you have heard of phishing, let me know in the chat. Yes or no? Okay, cool. Mireya has, and Dustin, I assume you have too. Okay, awesome. Good. All right, so you'll get even more familiar with phishing in week 1. For those of you who are watching after the fact and you don't know, it is a form of social engineering where attackers, motivated attackers, okay, they're really motivated, okay, they don't give up easily in terms of getting the information they're trying to get from you, right? So these attackers or hackers, whatever you want to call them, they send fraudulent emails, texts, sometimes even through phone, right? They can take advantage of you by phone. We call that, what do we call it when somebody, what's that word we use? When somebody calls you, not spam, they call you out of the blue. Telemarketers, trying to take advantage, right? But people get taken advantage over the phone. So that's a form of phishing, okay? Yes, they're everywhere all the time now. Yeah. So your cell phone can ring and be like, how did this person get my number? Well, you put your phone number in this database that you didn't realize was being sold to XYZ company. And so XYZ company said, hey, we're going to sell it to the telemarketers. and then somehow it ended up in the wrong group of people, and now they're using it to scam you. Yes, yes. Thank you for sharing, Dustin and Mireya. Yeah. So it's designed to trick you. If we can just get that in our heads, it's designed to trick you on purpose, and they're motivated to trick you into revealing enough sensitive information that they can use it to deploy whatever they have in mind for you. So ransomware, malware, whatever they need to get to, they will say whatever. If they need to compliment you, right? Oh, your voice is so nice over the phone. Oh, you seem like such a nice person in email. Whatever, right? I saw your picture on blah, 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 blah. You look so beautiful. Whatever it is, they will say whatever they got to say to get whatever they want. So just keep that in mind. All right, real world examples. So these are examples of phishing attacks. So there was a fake email that came through Full Sail in 2020, and I remember this because I was busy just my regular day, getting ready for class or whatever I was doing, and checking my email, and noticed an email that came from Gary. It was supposed to be. It looked like it was supposed to come from Gary Jones, except Gary spells his name with two R's. If you really know. If you're used to receiving mail from Gary Jones, you know he spells his name with two R's. And so when the email came through with one R, I was like, I don't think Gary would have changed his name. I think, yeah, something's wrong. So I didn't really open the email. I just looked at it in the preview. And as I was looking at it in the preview, I noticed that there were even more typos. I was like, that's not like the executive staff here at Full Sail to send out an email full of typos. Something must be wrong. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to even read it. It doesn't even sound like it. Yeah, so it was related to pet sitting and walking. It's not from Gary. It was something else. But whatever it wasn't important enough for me to keep it. So I just deleted it. And I didn't think anything of it. 24 hours later, we got a message from IMT saying, hey, email came out from a fake Gary Jones. Don't open it. It's not real. It's phishing. But for those people who did open it, I don't know what happened, right? I didn't hear about what happened, but who knows how many laptops were taken advantage of because another instructor who wasn't familiar with information security just said, oh, Gary, oh, okay. Or maybe a new hire to Full Sail, right? They don't know Gary enough, or they don't know his name. They're not used to receiving enough correspondence from him or his staff to know how his name is really spelled. So that wouldn't be a flag for them. I think in 2020, another one came out, and it actually went to Valencia College. It came to Full Sail. It went to probably UCF as well. Pet sitting, Walker, advertisement, basically. And, Full Sail doesn't allow that. So that should be a red flag to us as well. So these are just recent things that are happening. So it's still happening. I think I got a phishing email that IMT caught. Yeah, they caught it and notified us that it was happening last week. And I forget what the topic was, but yeah, it's a normal thing. So just get used to, before you open the emails, check them out, delete them if it's not worth keeping. All right, so let's talk about other phishing scams. So crypto is super popular now, right? Didn't used to be as popular, but now it's like super duper popular. I got into crypto recently as well, and I bought a Ledger Nano, and of course, I should have done more research, but I didn't, and it worked out for me. But had I not, I wouldn't have known that Ledger Nano recently, I forget, what was it, 2020? Yeah, 2020 is when I found out that they had experienced a data breach. Not with the crypto keys or anything, not with the actual crypto wallets, but they were compromised because their database of emails, their marketing database was compromised. It was stolen. So somebody had stolen all of their customer emails, and I think their names and maybe phone numbers, and that was it. It wasn't the actual wallets. But what the scammers were able to do was they took that just that basic information, the email, the first name, second name, and sent out these emails to these customers saying, "Hey, we noticed that your Ledger Nano has been compromised, and we want you to go ahead and type in your 24 keywords that so we can fix it." And for somebody who's not technical enough, they would just go ahead and do that, right? Even though when you get your Ledger Nano, it clearly says, don't ever share your 24 keywords with anybody. So when you give away your 24 keywords to your hardware wallet, guess what happens? That person now owns your crypto unless you are able to change it fast enough to lock them out. But basically, I have a Ledger Nano, and that's how I keep my stuff. But it's like, wow, how many people just would not know to not respond to that email? And then there's another scam that Trezor is a competitor of Ledger Nano. They're both on Amazon. You can buy them on Amazon. But what hackers have been known to do is they will buy Ledger Nanos or Trezor's hardware wallets from Amazon, and then what they'll do is they will fill out. They'll get the brand new Ledger Nano, open it up, fill out the keywords that they want you to use. Then they'll sell it back to a regular unsuspecting customer. And when that unsuspecting customer puts all their crypto on that hardware wallet, guess who immediately gets access to free crypto? The hacker. Yeah. So this is just it requires so much awareness, and it's important. But the key here is if you are into crypto, I'm not a financial advisor. I love crypto, but if you're into crypto, just remember that if you don't have control of your keys and you don't have it in a hardware wallet, it's not your crypto. If it's on the exchange, it's not your crypto. It's right now, it's sitting with Coinbase, or it's sitting with Binance, or it's sitting with whoever. That's who has your keys. You don't have your keys. Your keys, you own your keys when they're sitting on your wallet. And of course, there are digital wallets as well. But again, somebody else is holding your digital wallet somewhere, which is different from you holding it yourself. Mireya says, my husband has been doing it for 5 years or so. He's doing really good. Awesome. Yes, I love hearing success stories because, yeah, I love that. My husband is the one that got me into it as well, because I was into the stock market and I was like, I don't know nothing about no crypto, but I do now.
In the beginning, but it works. But yeah,
Yes.
no financial advising here. But yes, it works it has worked for us.
Awesome. Yeah. That's beautiful. And it's worked for a lot of people, and I think that, yeah, a lot of people want to get into it, but it requires a lot of research, including me. I'm still researching, right? You have to be a lifelong learner with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's watching videos all the time with it too, learning what's new, when it's going down, when it's going up.
Yeah.
Very interesting, but a lot of studying.
Yeah, absolutely. My husband's like, I want to do this full time. I'm like, yeah, about that. Let's
I want my husband to do it full time. He makes more money than he does at his job.
I do too, but it's one of those things where you got to watch it all day to really, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about this all day. So yeah, that is a thing with scammers as well. $3 million was lost with a company called Mattel. They are famous for the Barbie and Hot Wheels, and basically they hired a new CEO. And so what happened was these Chinese scammers, they knew about the new hire, right? They knew that a new CEO was coming, being transitioned into the role. And they took advantage of that. They basically sent them an invoice saying, hey, you owe us $3 million. And so acting as a vendor, right? And so the new CEO, I think that particular CEO did some checks and balances, and everybody approved it. Nobody really caught it. Nobody really caught that it was a scam. The money actually did get transferred into the hacker's bank account. The only thing that saved Mattel was there was a weekend business conversation, and it was taking place during a bank. I guess it was a bank holiday rather than a weekend. But the conversation took place on a business on a holiday, and that conversation, the fact that it happened on that holiday, gave them enough time to call the authorities, get in touch with the make the authorities get in touch with the bank and stop the money from actually staying there. So they were able to get back their 3 million. But think about how many companies. Think about how many companies, lose thousands of dollars, right? And they don't even get that bank holiday grace period to catch it. So this is happening all over the world all the time. So these are just you could probably just Google how many phishing scams have been successful. All right, so phishing awareness as an information security professional, what are some of the analytical questions that you should be asking yourself as you're working your way through this course? Well, how does this particular attack impact the company that I'm working for or the company I want to work for? What should be done moving forward? What are some best practices that we should be doing that we're not doing? What policies should we have in place that we don't have in place? How can we better protect our systems? These are questions that you'll be asking for the company that you're going to work for, right? They're going to be looking to you and saying, well, what should we do? Right? Well, when they ask you, what should we do? You will already know the answer because you will have already started training your mind to think about the considerations that are listed here, right? Firewalls can be used, right? Um, Went through all 4 layers of company protocol security and still went through. Yeah, yeah. How crazy is that? Exactly, exactly. And that's what hackers bank on, right? They bank on people being too busy to really, you know, vet what's going on because everybody's in a hurry, 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 hurry. So they exploit those vulnerabilities in your daily practices. And so, yeah, somebody's got to be there, and that's you. That's why you're here studying information security, cybersecurity, so that you can be the one that says, "Hey, I got time to look at this a little closer. I got time to make sure we're as secure as we can be as an organization." So, things to look out for, obviously, with phishing is, you get an email that has a sense of urgency. It's like, oh, Fia, uh, your bank account has been compromised. Hurry up and give us your account number because we're trying to secure it. Uh, and it's like, okay, wait a minute. My bank wouldn't do that because they already have my bank account number. But first of all, I'm going to call the bank first before I respond to anything like that. But if there's a sense of urgency out of the norm, then okay, this is not even. Let me do some research before I even open this. Secrecy, trying to gain your trust, trying to get you to do things outside of the organization's policies and procedures because it just seems like the right thing to do. Be careful of those kinds of things. So, as a professional, you're going to be the one on the line for it, for thinking, keeping your organization thinking and in the right mindset. I want to say that's what I want to say. Keeping people in the right mindset in your organization. So it might require you to train um, people in your own department at work. Hey, we need to think like this all the time. Otherwise, you know, this organization is at risk. All right, so CIA triad mindset. That's exactly what I was referring to earlier. This is a benchmark, it's a best practice model, and it's based on 3 things: integrity, confidentiality, availability. All right, so a hacker anywhere in the world is always looking to compromise your personal credit, your crypto wallets, your shopping cart system, looking at trying to get access to your credit card information, your orders, your Wawa gas station. I have an interesting story about that as well. Um, I think Mireya was saying that she got compromised at gas stations. That's happened to me at least twice. But yeah, the goal here with the CIA triad, which you're going to be studying during more deeply, more thoroughly in week 1, that's one of the tools, best practices that you want to hold on to. So what it's asking us to do is always be validating, always be trying to prevent, always be trying to maintain. So what are we validating? Trust, making sure the people who are coming through our systems can be trusted and that they are who they say they are. Okay. Preventing, making sure we're not allowing theft to happen. Accidental access, giving somebody too much control. If they don't need admin, access, why are we giving them admin access when they just need basic user access, or read write access? Maybe they just need read access. Maybe they don't need write access. So little things like that with your ACL, if you're into network access control, that's a thing. Maintaining your systems, making sure they're up to date. Like, for example, with WordPress websites, I just know that from an application developer, with my background, I know that those types of websites lend themselves to being hacked. If they're not patched, if the software patches are not happening on a regular basis, guess what? I've had customers who had their websites defaced because somebody found a vulnerability and they had their own servers. So I'm like, okay, it's your server. I can help you with that if you want me to, but since you want to maintain it yourself, that's fine. Just know that if you're not keeping up with these particular patches from an operating system level as well as application level, you're opening yourself up to a vulnerability. Rhea says, I get one from PayPal all the time, but I don't have an account with them. Oh yeah, you get, I think you're saying that you get a phishing email or you get a sense of urgency.
I put that when you were talking about getting those emails about give me your account number. I was like, yeah, I get one from PayPal all the time, and I don't even have an account with them.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, and it's probably somebody using PayPal's logo to make it look real.
It looks really legit. Yes.
Yeah, that's what they do. They take stuff off the internet because you can find anything on the internet now, right?
Right.
And just fake it, and that's the sad truth, but that's why we're here. So yeah, CIA triad mindset is what you're going to be researching this week. Interesting interesting example of another real world event or occurrence that happened. Wawa gas station. This was just that was this month. Yeah, I was pumping my gas like 2-3 weeks ago. At the Wawa in my neighborhood, and I was just standing there. You just standing there. You're just kind of waiting for your gas to finish pumping. I'm trying to fill up. I hadn't filled up in a while, and so as I'm filling up my gas, the little TV screen on the pump comes on, and it's got this happy joy music playing, and at the same time it's advertising their drinks and their coffees and their donuts and their sandwiches and all this visual beautiful stuff. So it's still playing the music in the background. All of a sudden I just happened to glance. I had looked away from the screen because I'm just like, I'm not interested in the food thing. I just want my gas. So I looked back at the screen at some point, and as I looked back at that screen, the music was still playing. But what was on the screen was a whole bunch of text, like a serious notice. I had never seen the screen all black with white text, and just like it was a serious notice. But the music was still playing. The happy joy music was still playing. I was like, I wonder if they're rebooting the system. But then I looked a little closer, and I was like, that's a data breach. Wawa was saying basically, hey, if you were a part of this data breach that happened back in 2019 for about 9 months, we were exposed between March of 2019 and December of 2019. If you feel like you were a part of this breach, contact us, for your claim. And I was like, but again, the happy joy music is still playing. And I'm like, why didn't they stop the music and come out and say, in a professional tone, hey, were you a part of this breach? If so, please reach out to XYZ website. But no, they didn't. And I was just like, am I the first person to see this? Yes, Mireya. Mireya. Yes, yes. Mireya says
I thought you couldn't help it.
to keep you happy. Yes. I'm like, what? So I wonder, and I was like, am I the only person that doesn't know about this? So I got in my after my gas finished pumping. I got in the car and I said, let me look this up. And lo and behold, it's real. So I'm like, oh, I know for sure I was using Wawa back in 2019 before um, the shutdown happened. I know I was using it up to December 12th. So let me look into this. So I said, I need to tell my I need to tell my students about this. And I love Wawa too. Ray has says, I love Wawa. Yes, I love the place, but the idea that I wouldn't even picked up on it, and they must have kept it hush hush because most of my students have not heard of this. So it turns out you have. I've been advertising it because I'm like, uh, you have until November 2021, which is next month. I forget what the date is. But you have until November 2021 to go ahead and claim either a $5 gift card, a $15 gift card, or it goes all the way up to $500 if you don't want to settle. Uh, I guess if you want to go to court and have a real case and you got proof and all that other stuff, then you could like go for like way more than 500. So they've agreed to pay $9 million. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of $5 gift cards. So basically, the hackers stole the customer payment credit card, and we've already been talking about how we've been taken advantage of at gas stations. But I will say this: the gas stations where I've been compromised the most are the small, tiny, tiny gas stations that I normally don't go to. But let's say I'm in a neighborhood and I got lost, right? And I'm like, I don't know where I'm at, but my gas level is low, so let me go ahead and stop. Yes, Circle K. Yes. Circle K is one of those small ones that you see and you're like, huh, should I wait till I get to the one I normally go to, or should I just go ahead and get some gas real quick? That's where I get compromised the most. So, yeah, that's yeah. And sometimes it's not that I'm in a bad neighborhood per se. It's just I'm in a place I'm not familiar with. And so it's like I just stop anywhere and you know, there it is. So Wawa gets breached too, y'all. um and so it's not even about how big or small you are. This is $9 million they've agreed to pay out. So if you Google it, you'll find the same information. I was just shocked because I was like, I had not heard about this, and it's 2021. Anyway, moving on. So if you're interested, check it out. If not, keep it moving. Um, Defense in depth is another one of those things that you're going to research in week one. It is all about having a layered security approach. Okay, so it basically means if one control fails, then you have another control in place already that makes sure that your data is protected. So how do we do that? Let's talk about, for example, a motorcycle. If I don't want my motorcycle stolen because I don't feel like finding another motorcycle, I don't want to pay, mine is paid off. I don't want to buy another one. I don't want to go in debt for it, right? So it's done. Let me keep the motorcycle I got and have fun. Well, how do I do that? I have to have a layered security approach. So I have a motorcycle alarm, right? So that if anybody touches it, it makes a sound. And then I have hidden cameras with my house. So if anybody touched the motorcycle, they get picked up on camera. Then I lock my front wheel. Then I also I have a physical lock on my back wheel. So that's a layered approach so that if one thing goes, if they're able to cut the lock, at least the motorcycle alarm would go off, right? And if the motorcycle alarm doesn't scare them away, at least the hidden camera picks up their face and, I have something as proof that I can, whatever. But yeah, that's a real world example of how we want to protect our data, right? We want to have a fail safe, just in case type of layered system. So you have your data right here in the middle where the bullseye is. the bull's eye. All right, so you got your data backup, you got that, safe and secure locally, and you got that safe and secure offsite. And then you have your disaster recovery. And then as you go out, you have more and more secure layers, right? So you got the malware, anti-malware software for your mobile devices and clients and servers, and then you got firewalls with permissions on what kind of data packets can come through and go out. Email security and filtering, that's where the phishing security would happen, the spam, right? Wireless security, you don't want everybody on your wireless. You don't want people pulling up to your house in their car using your internet. So, that's just, these are all great, great, great things. And so on the outside, obviously you have your security policy. And so as an information security specialist, you would need to be familiar with your organization's security policy so that you can help secure what's in the bullseye, which is your data. They want your data. So the key is to keep it safe with a layered approach. That's what defense in depth is all about. And when you talk about your topics for week 4, that's what we're going to be looking for is how is your topic, how are you handling, um, what is your layered security approach for the topic that you're talking about? And what are some of the ways that you can protect data? All right, password strength. We love passwords. We have passwords everywhere. Endless passwords. So how do we keep track of them? Well, this week you're going to get to learn how to keep track of your passwords, how to give them, how to make them more less easy to figure out. Okay, so you want to make them as complex as possible. I know a lot of people get, really frustrated with the password process. They're like, why are there so many rules? Why do I have to have 3 caps and 2 special characters and 3 numbers? Why do I have to have all that? Why can't I just say my birthday is my password? Or why can't I just do password 123 and be done with this? Hello. So the key here is you want your passwords to be as complex as possible. It's more important that your password is complex than it's long. So you could say, hey, I'm going on vacation in January. That's a long password, but that's hackable. That's much easier to hack than I'm going on vacation at sign, ampersand sign, exclamation sign in January. All right. So as complex as possible is the key. So you're going to get practice with this password strength concept in week 1. You're going to be looking at some hashing. There's 2 formats you can do hashing with. You got MD5 and SHA 256. You don't really have to know the background on that. Just understand that it is a mathematical process for generating a cryptic set of characters. And those cryptic set of characters is what hides the true value of the password. Okay, salting is another concept that you can use to complement hashing. So salting is something we add on to hashing. It's an extra piece, it's an extra keyword, for example, that you might add on to that cryptic list of characters that you already have. Okay, so it's just a reinforcement, so to speak. All right, so password managers, LastPass is what you're going to get to play with in week 1. You'll create some strong passwords, you'll create some weak passwords so that you can see the difference. You'll submit some screenshots to show that you've done that. You'll get to just learn the application and see how valuable it is in terms of it helping to audit your password process. Because with so many passwords, using the same password over and over and over, you can't even do that anymore, right? So my bank won't let me use the last 5 passwords that I've tried to use if it's within a certain time frame. So after about 6 months, I can use it again, or maybe after a year, I can use it again. But I love just flipping around my passwords because I'm just like, I don't want to come up with a new password, but I have to, right? So that's the price that I have to pay to not be hacked, right? That's the price I have to pay to avoid identity theft, and that's what I'm willing to do. All right, so you get to have some fun with that. Alternative environments. So we love the Internet of Things. We love fancy gadgets. We are a world full of technology, and we want our things to be smart all the time because smart things make our lives easier, right? um, I'm saying that facetiously because the smarter the things, the gadgets are, the more hackable they are. So the Internet of Things devices, um, they, it could be a car, your house can be smart, your tablet is smart, your phone is smart, you know, you can have a smart mug, all these things can be smart. But at the end of the day, your vacuum cleaner can be smart. My husband wanted to buy a vacuum cleaner that basically would memorize the square footage of our house and somehow would just do the vacuuming for us. And I was like, no way. I don't want no device memorizing my house. I don't want no device memorize. No, because if it can memorize my house, that means somebody else has access to that data. And it doesn't seem like it, right? It's just a vacuum cleaner. It's just, oh, it's so cute. Oh, and I'm not saying, you shouldn't have the Internet of Things. I have a vehicle that, speaking of, have self driving cars. For example, my car will find a parking space, will for me without much help. It will ask me. I can give it permission to drive for me and find a parking space. Um, and that's not something I'm comfortable with yet. I didn't buy it for that reason. I bought it for other reasons, but it comes with my vehicle. So I'm like, okay, I'm not comfortable with you parking for me. I think I don't want to end up in a ditch somewhere. So I'm gonna keep control. But again, our things are the things that we like in life are becoming smarter and smarter. Just realize that the smarter they become, the more hackable, the more compromised they can become. Um, Control techniques. Well, we're going to talk about operating system hardening. All right. So, lockout, wiping, tracking, all that good stuff. But before we do, there is no way for everyone to know everything there is to know about securing, right? You won't ever know which ports to block off when, and all you can do is have best practices. And then where do you get those best practices from? Because nobody knows everything, right? So the best way to handle your organization's information security is to let them know, hey, there are organizations out there that have they're already providing resources on as a guideline for how we can carry out our business on a day-to-day basis and still keep our customers safe and still keep our data safe. Okay, so who are these organizations? Where you have OWASP, there's the top 10 software application vulnerabilities. So the programmers in the organization that you go to work for or the corporation you go to work for, they would know about the cheat sheets for writing secure code. How do you make sure that you write a database application that is not vulnerable to SQL injection? SQL injection is basically somebody created a form, but they didn't code it in a secure way. And so a hacker finds the form and they're like, let me see what I can get into. Can I get into this database and delete a table? Can I get into this database and add some data that shouldn't be there that would be to my benefit? Well, OWASP Top 10 is what the programmers in your organization should be aware of, right? DISA. They create documents called STIGs, which are also known as Security Technical Implementation Documents. So these are documents that you would research as an information security specialist. It's going to tell you about, how you can manage and keep the software secure on your Windows 10 and Red Hat operating systems. SANS is another organization that provides checklists for operating system hardening. They provide all kinds of white papers for people who are researching things related to network security. All right. And then Common Criteria is another organization. So these are all organizations you want to be aware of as a professional in your field, so that when your executives come to you and say, hey, we really need your advice on this. We have the legal team here. We need to know what we can do. So you work with our legal team to figure out how we can better protect our data and still do it by the book. All right, so controls and techniques, operating system hardening. You're going to get a chance to research that. That's the act of configuring your operating system in a way where it updates on a regular basis. It keeps, your patches and stuff, set. You create some rules and policies on how that happens and all that good stuff. Why would you want to harden it? Well, you're going to cut back on your exposure to the threats that are out there. So if Windows 11 just came out and there is a backdoor, a known backdoor, wouldn't you want to know? Yeah, you want to know that so that you can harden your operating system in a way that says, you know what, Windows 10 or Windows 11 shouldn't have left this back door open, but it is. And so as a researcher, you would know about that, and you'd be able to protect your organization, because you're like, hey, this just came out. Maybe we shouldn't upgrade all of our computers and move from Windows 10 to Windows 11 right now. Maybe we should just let Windows 11 work their issue out. And by the way, that is a best practice for me as a programmer. When I buy developer software, I am not trying to buy the latest and greatest everything, because I know that these software companies don't always get it right, right? There's always still a few glitches, especially with Microsoft. I learned in the past with the old versions, XP, and yeah, that, not everything is ready for market when it comes out. So just be aware that you can lose by upgrading too soon. So operating system hardening, that is something you really want to keep track of. If it is stolen, if your device is stolen, what are some of the things you can do? Well, is your data backed up? That's probably the most important. Dustin says 1 year date practice. Wait until 1 year without problems. Yes, I so agree with that. Me and my husband have been following that for the last 20 years. Yes. Because it proves itself. You are so right, Dustin. It proves itself over and over and over. And I don't understand why these companies release these software applications, and they know, or maybe they don't know. But I'm like, that's a good reason to have a hacker inside in house, so that you can make sure your software is secure, and that it doesn't have bugs that are going to compromise your customers. But yeah, so when you think of your hard drive, if a hacker gets to your hard drive, they are basically walking through the door of your network. Or if you think of your network as a house, the network of the organization that you're going to work for, right? A network is just in simple terms, say 100 computers connected via the internet and routers and all that other stuff, right? That comes with it, in simple terms. But if a hacker gets access to just one hard drive, or the server's hard drive, they are basically walking through the door of your corporation, of your organization, of your home. If they get to an application, if they hack through the internet and get to your application and compromise it, then that's like walking through or breaking into one of your windows of the organization. So you want to make sure the operating system is locked down hard, and that's the motivation here. All right. Okay, so data security. That's what this is all about. Best practices. So at the end of the day, hardware is not nearly as important as it used to be, because data has become king. Data is the new gold, okay? It is everything. Like, if you have someone's data, forget what kind of computer they have. Who cares? if you have their data, like you can, there's so much more you can do with the data. And that didn't used to be, it didn't used to be that way, but it is. It's that way now. So as an expert in this field, help your organization understand that data is more important than the hardware. So if someone steals the hardware from the organization, make sure the data is backed up, make sure the data is encrypted, make sure the data is um, not as accessible as the actual hardware is, because you can lock the computer, you can make it automatically wipe itself, you can do a lot of things to protect the data, because data is gold now. Data is the new, uh, yeah, it's on top. All right, so permissions framework, you're going to look into that this week. Some of the best practices. We referred to the CIA triad. That's part of the permissions framework. Having that mindset all the time, no matter what situation, so that you can keep things nice and balanced and protected. AAA, this is not the AAA for your roadside assistance. It is authentication, authorization, and auditing. So you'll be looking into that, which is how can you access data on the system, who should be accessing it, why are they accessing it, and what parts. They don't need all. They may not need access to all of it, maybe just some parts. Storage techniques for protecting data. A lot of people think that if your data is stored in the cloud, then it's safe, and that is a bad assumption. That is a bad practice. The best practice is, hey, my data is in the cloud and it's safe because I have done the research and I know the company that's doing the work, they have secured it in XYZ way, or they have used XYZ controls to make sure they've used defense in depth concepts, a layered approach to making sure my data in the cloud is actually safe. Okay? So just because it's in the cloud doesn't mean it's safe. SAN, which is a storage attached network, right? So you're gonna be researching that, which is just the hard drives that allow us to keep data separated so that everything is not in one place. So if a hacker did get access to the database that has all the emails, they don't necessarily have access to the database that has the phone numbers because they're on two different hard drives. And so that's how we make it more secure, by using these storage attached networks, right? Encryption for compliance and regulatory. You're going to look into HIPAA. We'll actually get into that, I think, in week 2 or 3, but you'll be studying that coming up in the next few weeks. TPM is another way of encrypting hard drives, making sure that if somebody does steal your hardware, your data is still safe. And if they get to the encrypted data, they can't first of all, they can't unencrypt it. And if they could, you could detect that and try to just wipe it all together because you have a backup. You have regular backups already happening. All right, I think that is it for our week 1 topics. Let's talk about the homework just a little bit, and then we're going to wrap up. I think we are good. Anybody got questions? Anything in particular before we get to the homework? All right. So, course information. Thank you, Mireha. So there's, let's see, 2, 4, 6 things that are under course information. Go ahead and knock that out. Those are easy reads. But yeah, knock that out so that it's out of the way. And then you have 4 assignments, 4 graded assignments. Okay, so the completions. Go ahead, Dustin. I see you have a question, or you can just type it in the chat, whatever is comfortable.
I was just wondering on that the course information, the course conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
It's due like this week to knock it out, but it's supposed to be at the end of the assignment, like end of the course, because I think it's like the evaluation of the course completely.
Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I will, course completion. Oh, course conclusion. Yeah, that makes sense. I'll check on that and make sure it's not supposed to happen until week 4. You're right. Thank you.
Well, I saw that I had a due date, so I did conclude it, but you're going to get a feedback late. I mean, right? We're gonna get an alert to get it done later.
Yeah, you'll get that
Okay.
anyway. So technically, yeah, I guess you're both right. Now that I
I
think
mean,
about it, you're both
I was
right.
not here with you, Dustin.
Yeah, because it's funny because I've seen students complete it in week 1, and I'm thinking, how did they complete?
Yeah,
Why?
how do they
Yeah.
do
So
this? It's wonderful.
right. You're just used to knocking stuff out, and I don't blame you. So yeah, no, thank you both for chiming in on that. Um, awesome stuff. So yeah, I'll check on that, and just for the to make sure people aren't confused, I'll go ahead and extend it to week 4. That makes sense. All right. So lab 1, lab 1 is all about LastPass password manager, where you get a chance to play with user security and see how it works. Um, so again, I was saying earlier that you're going, and it does say on FSO that you have to use an iPad. Don't pay attention to that. I didn't write that particular area. So it is your computer is just fine. Whatever computer you're working with, use that. You don't have to have an iPad. All right. So in the write up, you'll notice that you have to. I think at the end you have to write a quick paragraph on what you learned about each of the previous steps. So there's 8 different steps. Okay, you're gonna do the phishing quiz. You're gonna do the LastPass activities. Play with the passwords. Play with some hashing. Different websites you're gonna play with, and then there's a phishing quiz, which is fun, actually fun, to see if you can be a detective and figure out which phishing emails are legit and which ones are not. That's a nice little thing to do. All right, and then your discussion on the storage, um, the network security, and CIS, Center for Internet Security controls. Those are the top 20 that are recommended actions for cyber defense, and so you're going to get to collaborate with your fellow classmates and basically answer the question, which of the top 20 controls impact system security the most, and why do you think that? So that should be fun. It's just a quick way for you to answer that question after you've done some research and then collaborate with your classmates. And again, I'm looking for critical thinking, not just I agree or good post or I like your post, like really add some value to your responses, which we as professionals have to do, right? Lab number 2, patch, harden, and protect. So this is all about the operating systems, Windows 10 and Red Hat Linux. You'll get a chance to research the controls on Microsoft's website, and then you'll download obviously the documentation from FSO. But then there's a list of questions that you're going to be answering. And we're looking for, again, critical thinking here. Try to use complete sentences as much as possible. A lot of people don't realize that the way you write now is the way you're going to write later. And so in the real world, we want you to put your best foot forward. So try to do that here as well. You'll get a better grade if you use complete sentences, is what I'm trying to say. All right, so homework security, chapter 12. Remember I said that the CompTIA Security Plus manual that we're using is SYO 501 and 601. But again, when you see the chapter quizzes, keep in mind that you can use both books, but it might be easier if you use the 501. And then we've already talked about the research topics. That's it. That's pretty much it. After your quiz and the discussion, the write-up on the patch, harden, and protect, and the LastPass, you have 4 assignments. Now, moving into week 2 and 3, you'll have, I think, 6 assignments per week. So this is an easier week than the other 2 weeks coming up. And then I think week 4 is a little easier because you have your presentation that same week. But that's pretty much what's coming. Advice that I would give to everyone watching: personal time management is so easy to, skip the research or skip the videos, or don't read the downloads that are provided, but that's how you get the best. That's how you're going to get the best learning experience as well as the best grade. And I won't repeat any of these because we've already talked about them. Time management is the key. And you know where to reach me. That's pretty much it, y'all. Thank you, Dustin and Mireha, for hanging out with me and participating. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for keeping it fun.
Absolutely.
Yes.
If we're gonna,
I do have
go ahead.
one thing to ask. Okay, so say we work ahead a little bit. I know because our class being on Thursday, time management, working ahead. Say we submit something and then you go over in class Thursday a little tip or trick that will help. Can we go back and resubmit and feedback? Just to kind of improve if, say, we missed something and you bring it to a point of emphasis during class, but we had already submitted the assignment. Can we just resubmit in feedback and send you a message, or how do you want us to do that?
I would say I've had a few students where I have graded something and they come right back and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I missed that. Can I fix that?" Those kind of situations I don't mind as long as it's something small. But as far as going all the way back to an assignment that I graded, you're saying like if I do a lecture in week 2 and you find out that week 1's homework was, I guess by then I would have graded it though.
No. Say like I work ahead because like Monday, Tuesday, my kids in school, so I try to get stuff done during the weekend when they don't have school. So if I work week 2 now, and it comes to Thursday week 2 lecture, and you point out something that would help us improve that something that's already been submitted for week 2, but then how do we go back to fix it with your suggestions?
Oh yeah, I get it now. So yeah, here's the deal. If I haven't graded it, you can submit it as many times as you want. And that's actually what will happen if you work ahead to week 2, and I'm talking in I'm giving lecture 2, but you've already done week 2's homework. That means I haven't graded it, right? Because I wouldn't have graded week 2 until after week 2's lecture.
Right. So just submit the changes that you pointed out. And
right.
Leave a feedback. Hey, I resubmitted this. Will you please check the second one? Or
yeah.
something?
Yeah, and I have students do that all the time. I didn't understand what you were saying at first, but yeah, that makes sense now.
Right. Yeah,
no, you're fine.
I stay ahead with, my kids are homeschooled, plus my school and everything else. I try to work ahead if possible. So.
Ooh, yeah, you got a full house. I hear you. I don't blame you, and I appreciate you being willing to work ahead. So yeah, I've had students where they've submitted one version of something, and then they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that's the way." Okay. So then they resubmit a second version, and they'll say, "Hey, Miss Fia, can you grade this second one instead?" But just put a comment inside FSO and say, "Can you, because if I get multiple versions, obviously I'm going to go with the latest one. But sometimes if I'm grading fast and I'm not paying attention, I might grade the wrong version. So yeah."
I think I understood Dustin's question. I want to make sure I get it. So if I had lab 1 and 2 ready, and I turned it in before Thursday, but then on Thursday I realized that I missed something, or I don't know, whatever the case may be, and you talked about it on Thursday class or lecture, then I can resubmit it and just let you know, and then you'll grade the second one since you haven't touched it yet? Correct? Like today, we're having the first lecture.
Right.
I turned in lab 1 and lab 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't. I held on to them thinking, let's wait till then. But I love turning things in early,
mm-hmm.
in case an accident or anything happens. So if I turn it in on Monday, if I start working on things on Monday, then I give you lab 1 on Tuesday, lab 2 on Wednesday, and Thursday we have a lecture, and then I realize, oh, she meant this on lab 1. Okay, then I'll go ahead and look at that second question and change the answer because now I get it that when you talked about during lecture, can I resubmit? Since
So you're saying, okay,
before the
okay. I think you're saying that you would be submitting it late then, because all the assignment due dates are Monday.
No, she's talking about just like the same week.
Yes. So like today we're doing week 1 lecture.
Mm-hmm.
We have on next Monday, or this Monday coming up, we have lab 1, lab 2, and whatever else that we have to turn in.
Right.
If I turn it in at the beginning of the week before the lecture, can I resubmit if I notice something on Thursday before the due date?
I'm gonna say probably no, most likely. I don't usually go back and grade again. So
do you grade your lecture for the same week?
Yeah, so here's my grade. The way my grading cycle works is you'll turn in everything on Monday. By Tuesday, I pretty much have everything graded.
Okay.
I think that's why I did. I'm trying to follow.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but I think you're. I don't think you're understanding. I think if I turned it in already this past Monday, like 3 or 4 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
If I turn in before the lecture, not like before, what's today's date? The 28th. Mm-hmm. It's due on the 30th or the 1st?
The 1st of November. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's due on the 1st, but I turned it in on the 25th and the 26th, the 2 labs.
Oh, yeah.
The 28th. Okay, so I do have a chance to, as long as I do it before the due date, because you're not going to grade until after the due date, right?
Yes. Okay. So is that what you were saying too, Dustin? Is that okay? So yeah, if you turn it in today, and then you through some research, or maybe you asked me a private question about something that you already turned it in, but then you asked me a question about it, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that's what you meant. Let me go back and fix that. Yeah, you can fix it up to Monday midnight.
Wonderful. That was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mireha, for helping us clarify.
Of course. Well, because I had the same question as Dustin, and I've been holding on to the labs, thinking, no, I'm not going to turn it in until Thursday lecture. But then, I feel the same way about discussions. They're both due on the 1st, and a lot of students love waiting till the last minute. That means I have to be watching for them to put their discussion before I can reply and finally be done with that week.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let me turn this air conditioner off real quick. I never know how loud it is in here. But yeah, no, that makes sense now. So somehow y'all both asked the same question in a different way, but the answer's still the same. You can basically, if you submit it early, you can turn it in again as many times as you like, as long as I haven't graded it.
Wonderful.
So that's, yeah. Does that make sense to both of y'all?
Yes.
Cool.
And one other thing, and I don't want to confuse or anything. The discussions, is it just because this first week, or is it all the discussions, like she was saying, some people wait till last minute, and if you have 3 or 4 responses on one post, it's hard to put in your input if it's the same as someone else's. Are they all going to be due that Monday, the discussion and the reply? Are you do this discussion get put in before the reply due date or something like that, or is it all just due Monday?
That is a good question. I will tell you that I am not the original designer of this course, because normally that's what I would do is I would ask that your first response be due earlier than your last response, or your follow-up participation responses would be due after the fact. So, right. and I may actually change those dates just to make, because that's always made sense to me as well.
I'm sure that's what all the other professors, and I figured you weren't the one that designed it, because you seem like the one that would be like, well, that doesn't make sense either. But I just wanted to make sure maybe that just works best for you, that everything's due on the same day. I was just trying to clarify that.
No, I'm actually in the process of redesigning this course. So yeah. Um, I
Yeah, that
will. I've tweaked a few things, but I haven't like seriously made major changes yet because that's a process. So, but I appreciate your feedback on this because this helps me know that what I was going to do in the first place would have been more beneficial to you as a student.
Definitely. Yes.
So, thank you both. I really appreciate it. You don't know how much that means.
Oh, thank you.
we appreciate you and all of our teachers so far. It's been a smooth sail so far, in my eyes. I hope for
Yeah,
everybody else.
awesome. I love
But
it.
yeah, I know it's hard. You have in class students and online, and trying to get thrown around and everything in different courses. So we do appreciate you, and I love the lecture. It's informative, but we still don't feel like it's a straight on lecture where you're going to fall asleep with some monotone professor standing there.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, if we have to be here, we might as well make it fun.
Yeah, that's why I said thank you for making it fun because the other ones are like, oh.
Well, again, thank you for hanging out with me. It wouldn't have been the same without you. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank
thank you,
you.
thank
I will see you next week.
All right. So I'll sign off in about.
you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm going to sign off in about 30 seconds, but I will have this video ready for rewatch or first time watchers. Let's see, about 8 o'clock tonight, hopefully. All right. So y'all take care, and I will see you next week, hopefully.
See you next week.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.